Boatworks today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexseal Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much. So, welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. My name is Andy with Boatworks today, and this week we're finishing up all the prep work on the Transom, and we're getting some Coosa cut and fit. So, with that said, let's get started. Now, with the transom area pretty well prepped out, it's not 100% perfect yet. There's still a bit more work that needs to get done, but at least it's at a point now where I can kind of switch gears and start working on something different. And that something different is I want to start getting the new coring material cut out. Now, what I decided to go with for the coring on this, it's a product that's made by Coosa. It's their Blue Water 26. And Coosa, if you're not familiar with, it's a fiberglass reinforced foam panel. And with this first sheet going down being 1 inch thick, it's some pretty rigid material. Now, one quick tip I want to remind people here of this when you're working with this type of material. Again, just looking at here, in case you've never seen it, you can actually see all the fiberglass strands running through the surface, as well as along on the edges. There's fiberglass that runs, through the actual middle of the panel as well. But one quick tip I want to mention if you're going to be working with this, it relates specifically to when you're cutting it. Now, because this has fiberglass in it, it is going to chew up your normal cutting blades, whether they're a jigsaw blade or a circular saw, table saw, whatever, or band saw, whatever kind of blade you happen to be using on this, it is worth the extra money on the blades to get carbide tipped. I cannot reinforce that one enough. That was a lesson that took me about $20 in blades to figure out. Since then, I switched over to carbide blades for the jigsaw, and it's not even a comparison. I get probably 10, 20 times the life out of the blade. So let me get everything kind of chucked up here and set up, and let's start getting this template marked and cut out. All right, so one last thing. Because I'm going to be cutting this on a jigsaw, and this is a 1 inch thick panel, it's a little bit heavy for me to be kind of jerking it all around. So I have this set up on top of, I think it's like 2 inch thick foam boards, just to basically raise it up. So I'll be able to run my jigsaw right on top of here, and the blade will not hit anything beneath it. Now, one thing I want to note before I actually cut this out is I'm going to be running the blade of my jigsaw just on the inside of this line all the way around. Because quite honest, when I made this template, it is the exact same size as the cutout, or at least for that recessed area on the transom. And if I were to cut it out exact, it doesn't need to be quite that tight. I mean, if I'm short by, say, like a 1/16 of an inch, what is that in millimeters? Maybe like 1.5 millimeters, something like that. If I'm short that tiny little bit all the way around, it's not going to be a big deal because, well, it's just not going to make a bit of difference whatsoever, other than it's going to be a little bit easier to actually fit this in place. So overall, I think I got a reasonably good fit. There's always going to be little oopsies here and there, but overall, it's nice and tight along the top, the sides, as well as the bottom. Now obviously there's more material that needs to be added in here. Ideally what I'm hoping to be able to get when this is all said and done is a transom that's about 3.5 inches thick, give or take. Right now, well, we're only up to 1. But this is also where it starts to get a little bit tricky, just as far as it becomes a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle, trying to figure out, well, what thickness panels should be going in next and in what order. Let me kind of show you a little bit better what I'm talking about here. Now, initially what I was hoping to be able to do was that my next piece was going to be a 1-inch thick material, so then that would already get me up to 2 inches thick, right? Well, that kind of creates a little bit of a problem, because I also need to kind of keep in mind that, you know, eventually probably the third or fourth layers of Coosa is going to be going on here. It's going to be extending up into here as well as all the way down on both sides. So, you know, I need to make sure that this thickness right here is about right. And like right here, you know, I've got a little bit of, using a 1-inch piece, I've got a little bit of a gap in here. Now, there's a number of ways that I could maybe take that up. But as it is right now, this piece is a little bit too thick when I'm looking at it from here. Now, when you come over towards the corner right here, now all of a sudden that 1-inch thick piece is about perfect. Hopefully the camera is able to pick this up here, but you know, I'm only off by about 1/8 of an inch from coming down flush from here. But I'm too tall right through here, and coming in off the sides, again, it's just far too thick. Now, compare that to the 1/2-inch material. I'll set that in place. Right now, using a 1/2-inch, it's pretty much dead flush from the top all the way down. I am going to have to come back in and fill in this top piece, probably just going to fill it in with solid glass, since this is the thinnest part of the transom. Right here, there's coring up in here. No coring in this section through here. This is just solid glass, and this is about maybe 3/8 inches thick. And then obviously you came down into the area down where we ripped out, which was all coring as well. So presuming all this is going to have to get filled in some form or fashion, a 1/2-inch piece works really, really well coming down from the top, you know, looking at it elevation-wise from the top down, as well as coming off of the sides. Now, where it doesn't work well, it's coming off right here. As you can see, there's a pretty significant gap by about almost another 1/2 inch. So at this point, I've got to kind of make a decision here as far as what to use. If I put in a 1-inch piece, it's going to work fairly well in these two sections right through here only, but it's not going to work coming down from the top or coming in from the sides. Now, if I use a 1/2-inch piece, you know, I'm going to have a larger surface area that's actually going to work, because it's going to work coming from the top as well as coming from the sides. And again, the only area will not work well is right through here. So I guess in my mind, kind of where I'm landing on this is that it's easier to add more thickness than it is to have to remove it. So if I were to put in a 1-inch piece, that's going to set me up for a lot of grinding and a lot of, well, dicey work, you know, because the chances of me being able to sand in a perfect taper over, you know, this large of an area, probably slim to none. Because I need to make sure that whatever it is I do on this step, it's going to leave me with a nice smooth contour, so that the next layer that comes in will be able to lay over top of all of that and still have good surface contact. So I think I'm going to take the safe route. I'm going to go with the 1/2 inch here, and then I'll figure out this corner coming down and through here. I'm not quite sure. I don't have an answer for that yet, but I'll figure something out. So for right now, I think I'm going to pull this piece out. I'm going to use this as a template. I'm going to trace it, and just so that I have an exact copy for the 1/2 inch piece, I'm going to rough cut it, and then I'm going to go around with a flush trim bit on my router. All right, now for trimming this panel off, I'm going to be using my router with what's called a flush trim bit. And it's basically spiral, it's a carbide tipped spiral cutting bit. It's got bearings on the bottom. And the way I have it stacked up is the bearings are going to ride on this bottom 1-inch thick piece of Coosa, which is the exact shape that we need. And by doing that, it's going to naturally cut this top part as an exact copy. Now before I can do that, I need to secure these two panels together. And ideally, if I had some double stick tape, that's probably what I would use, but I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out the hot glue gun again, and I'm just going to put two very, very, very small dots. Probably one on this corner and one over on the other corner, just to kind of hold the two pieces together. It doesn't need to have a strong, bond with each other, just enough so it doesn't slide. So got the glue gun heating up. Again, two small dots. I'm getting tired. All right, so now that I have that other piece of Coosa cut and fit, I'm not going to bother actually trying to dry fit it here because, well, it's an exact copy of the first one, and if the first one fits, well, the second one's going to fit as well. So before I can start actually getting those ready to mount in place, I need to address a few small things on the actual transom itself. And basically, what I want to do is I want to address any kind of low spots or imperfections. So like anywhere you're still seeing white in here, these are all low spots. And well, there's some little cut lines from when I was cutting the old material out, but the biggest one is right in here. I don't know if the camera's picking this up all that well, but it's just a high spot and then a low spot. It's probably difference by a little over 1/8 of an inch, and just some other little small spots, here and there. So the reason I'm going to address these low spots is because, well, anywhere it's low is probably not going to be getting a real good surface bond with the Coosa. So might as well address those now. Now everything is opened up and easy access. Might as well just do it now. So for doing this, I'm going to be using my old faithful, the Total Fair, just because, well, easy sanding, right? So at this point, I'm pretty much on hold for the rest of the day, and it's about 5 o'clock on Friday, and I'm pretty much out of time for the rest of the week. So I think this is going to be a good time to end this video. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you in advance. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, please leave those down below. I'll do my best to get back with you. And as always, thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.